Eric Ebron's done, and highest third-round pick.
Well, yeah, but based upon what you know.
Right,
yes.
well, and we're arguing, should they be taken in the first round or not?
Right.
They may have, and I'd have to go back and look at other tight ends taken in those drafts. They may have been the highest rated tight end in that draft, and then, Bob Quinn says, all right, I'm going to take a tight end.
Right.
All right, well, let's take T.J. Hockenson. Or, who else could there have been? And could be, as you mentioned, for Brad Holmes, he may have, tight ends ranked, and this kid from Notre Dame may be the top tight end, but it doesn't mean he could say, I'm not taking a tight end in the first round.
They could have, if I'm not mistaken, okay, by position in that draft, they could have taken Devin Bush, or even if you want, I think you can T.J. Watt that year, but let's just say Devin Bush, because it was around that pick, 10th, I believe. They could have taken Devin Bush in the first round, a linebacker, and taken Irv Smith, a tight end in the second round, who actually TJ's replacing because he's hurt, instead of what they did.
Yeah.
They could have taken, like I said, they could have taken what's his face, in the second instead of Tavai.
Yeah.
Well, they could have taken Ed Oliver went right after TJ.
Correct. So Brian Burns went about 7 or 8 picks after TJ.
Yep. No, there's many. You can go back and say, okay, well, there's all these other guys you could have taken, but the argument is, we don't want a tight end
in the
with that
round.
First pick, obviously,
right.
Or with whatever the Rams pick is at right now. I think it's
right.
13, 14.
Right. They went tight end linebacker that year, and they could have gone linebacker, tight end, and then had Bush and Irv Smith as opposed to TJ and Tavai.
Yeah.
All right. We're going with Chris Villar in the second round right now. 97 on the ticket.
WXYT FM and WXYT HD1 Detroit. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Sports headlines. Live from the Jamie Samuelson studio. This is 97.1 The Ticket.
Brought to you by Mother Waddles. Michigan hurt by their non-conference schedule in the first college football playoff rankings, placed at number 5 on the first list of many down the home stretch of the season. Tennessee made number 1 with Ohio State, Georgia, and Clemson right behind them. 8 total MSU players now suspended as the school continues to look into the tunnel fight in Ann Arbor this past weekend. 3-time Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week Jacoby Windman was among the 4 players added to their bans as they review the videos. T.J. Hockenson said his goodbyes on social media as he goes from the 1-6 Lions to the 6-1 Vikings at the trade deadline. The number 8 overall pick for Detroit in 2019 says he appreciates Detroit and is excited for the change of scenery. Other notable players on the move yesterday: Chase Claypool goes to Chicago, Calvin Ridley to Jacksonville, the Bills get running back Nyheim Hines, and Bradley Chubb shifts from Denver to Miami. And World Series Game 3, the Phillies with a barrage of long balls to go up 2-1 in Houston.
Hoskins with a drive, left field, wow! An explosion! The South Valley Bombers with 5!
The call on Fox: 5 home runs in the first 5 innings, a record in a World Series game. Philly wins it 7-0 at home. At the Ticket Update Desk, I'm Chris Villar. For more, go to 97.1 The Ticket and Odyssey.com.
Live from the Jamie Samuelson studio, Stoney and Jansen on 97.1 The Ticket.
97 The Ticket, 248-539-9797. Chris mentioned the fact that 4 Michigan State players were suspended. We'll get into that in a second. I want to take this phone call first, and I want to get your thoughts on the college football playoff. David in Oak Park, please turn your phone down. You're on 97.1 The Ticket.
Or your radio.
David, yeah, turn your radio down. Phone down, radio down. David, you there?
Yes, I am.
Go ahead, please.
Agree with the trade, 100%. When they drafted Hockenson, and incidentally, he wasn't drafted by Holmes, they knew full well then that he couldn't block. But I think I love the trade because of the picks and because a certain team in L.A. is not appear to be having a very good year.
Correct. Yeah, I
agree
they're going to
with
get a
you,
lot
David,
They're going to have 5 picks in the first 65.
Yeah, as it stands now.
Yeah.
And that's, when you think about, all right, what the Lions are doing to earn their top pick. Like, right now, they've got the number 1 overall pick. The Rams, 13, 14, depending on, I think where we're looking at some tiebreakers, I don't know that necessarily improves itself. Even if you're looking at, what's their receiver right now? I'm drawing a blank. Cooper Kupp.
Right.
If he is healthy and still plays, I don't know that he is 100%. And if you start losing some of your top weapons, that's going to be a really good pick. I don't think they're getting any better. They're not getting any offensive line help. I know that.
Right.
So you're going to be picking twice in the top 15.
Well, unless they let Vitae go, for cap reasons, and then they pick up a guard in the second round or something. But I wouldn't expect that. You?
If they let Vitae go.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about the Lions.
Yes.
Yes. I think sure, go ahead, let them go. That's fine with me.
No, I know,
but I don't think they go guard in the first round. No.
Right, not in the first round. Here's some ticket types. Hawkinson will thrive in Minnesota as they have good receivers to draw coverage, whereas Detroit has a hodgepodge of cast-offs and vagabonds and nobody to go deep. Hey, he's correct, or she. This texter is correct. T.J. Hawkinson's going to thrive because when they're looking for Jefferson and Thielen and when Osborne's having a pretty good season,
Yep.
TJ's going to get a lot of open space. John and Auburn Hill says, good morning, guys. Trading Hawk was a bad idea. He's one of the
That
better
thing
players
does
in the
not
team.
want to
Decent
stay up.
receiving tight end. Yeah, decent, but where were they going?
Right. Well,
thing doesn't want to stay.
He was one of the better players on the team, on a team that has not a lot of great players.
Ross
Calls
and Kalamazoo.
every
Sheila's statement
friggin'
last
morning.
week on the Hawkinson trade made sense to me now. After the Dallas game, they probably decided the Goff experiment is over, the rebuild failed, and the teardown is underway. The problem is, we wanted to get into this later, but you're tearing down already. I mean, I know that's...
Yeah, the teardown started 2 years ago.
I understand, yeah, but the problem is you've had, top 10 picks in the last 4 years, and you got to keep tearing down.
Well, yeah, but you're tearing things down and adding assets that you can then go in the draft and replace. And they're adding assets they did 2 years ago. They added some assets last year, and some of them are just starting to get on the field. We haven't seen Jamison Williams yet, but I think it was a 100% teardown.
Yeah.
There's no question. I don't necessarily think this is a start over. I think it's just a continuation.
Speaking of the Cowboys, which we did in Wide 9, looks like McCarthy will keep his job, which means Sean Payton would be free to come to Detroit, right? Does he have any more years on the
Maybe they're
compensation?
building up draft capital to trade for Sean Payton.
Okay, here, look, don't get this the wrong way, because it wouldn't bother me at all. Do you think Sean Payton would come here to replace his boy?
No, it's not.
I think Sean Payton would. Yes.
Okay,
I don't think that would play a part in it.
all right.
I think Sean Payton's a little overrated. That's just my personal opinion.
I wouldn't trade a number one draft choice for him. I'll tell you that.
No, I wouldn't either. But in regards to, knowing his ego, sure.
I mean, people rip Belichick more for needing Brady than Sean Payton needing Drew Brees.
That's a good point.
What's Sean Payton done without Drew Brees? In fact, he got out of Dodge the second he was about ready to lose him.
I know we're struggling to get it to stay up.
Yeah.
The defense is better now than it was back then, I think. But anyway, Michigan State yesterday announced the suspension of 4 more players. Malcolm Jones, Justin White, Brandon Wright, and Jacoby Windman. And Windman is the most significant, obviously. Arguably, their best or second best defensive player.
Yeah.
And when they saw the video after their first 4 suspensions, they said, you know what? Jacoby, you sat there, you put on your helmet, as you said, ready for battle, and got in there a little bit, so you should be suspended. Say what you want, and I'm not going to go and litigate this again. Michigan State did the right thing here, man. They've acted really appropriately. They've taken responsibility. They've suspended 8 players. Maybe there'll even be more. I don't know. But
Yeah, and
I'm not going to say I don't want to give bouquets out because your players screwed up and you handle it appropriately. You should handle it appropriately. But Alan Haller, Mel Tucker, and the administration, they did the right thing.
Well, and we talk so many times about different organizations or franchises or programs that can't get out of their own way. Like something happens and they just double down and make it worse.
Right.
they're not doubling down on this. They are making a statement that we accept the fact that our guys made a gigantic mistake. And here's our statements. We're not going to make excuses. We're not going to blame anybody else. We're looking internally, and they've suspended 8 guys.
Mm-hmm.
And they've, when you're suspended as a senior, like, that could be it.
Yeah.
I mean, that really could be it. And, I mean, who knows if any of these players ever play at Michigan State again? I mean, who knows if next year you get 1 or 2 or however many are maybe spending some time in jail. But this is, I agree with you. It's an appropriate move after the fact.
Yes, and that's it. I don't want to really discuss it anymore because I'm out of it. I mean, we know what it was. We know what we saw, and things that led up to it. To me, for this instance, is irrelevant.
Right.
I mean, we set the scene. We elaborated pretty heavily on Monday what we saw, and then we saw further video. But yes, what led up to it, people can argue what they want, what was said by the Michigan players. It doesn't make a difference.
But we saw what was done.
Yes, we saw that with our eyes.
Yeah.
Okay. That's it. Anyway, speaking of college football, the playoff was first playoff rankings. Tennessee 1, Ohio State 2, Georgia 3, Clemson 4, Michigan 5, Alabama 6, and TCU 7. Now, as we all know, it's the first one. Things will take care of themselves. They usually do, including this coming week where Georgia takes on Tennessee in Athens. There's also an interesting Alabama-LSU game. I expect Bama to win, but LSU's been playing some pretty good football right now. Their quarterback, the transfer from Arizona State's done a nice job as well. So, things, like we said, should, figure itself out like it usually does. But, John, your original impressions when you saw the list?
Well, I mean, it's obviously, you look at it and you say, okay, well, who are the original 4? And it's Tennessee, Ohio State, Georgia, Clemson. I look at Clemson, and I'm not a believer. I wasn't a believer in Clemson at the start of the season. I don't think their quarterback is a guy that they can win a championship with. He's been very inconsistent. And then you see a game like Syracuse, where Syracuse, the first time they went on the road was to UConn. The next time they went on the road after, 4 or 5 home games was to, Clemson, and they were leading. Not necessarily because of what Syracuse had done.
Right.
It was self-inflicted wounds by Clemson. However, they were really close to winning that football game.
Mm-hmm.
And
they look at Clemson in a close game with Wake Forest.
Right. And then you look and say, okay, well, their non-conference, even though they did have an FCS opponent in Furman, is better than Michigan's non-conference.
No doubt.
And, you can then start looking, okay, NC State versus Penn State. Penn State was ranked 10 at the time. And those are the things that you start to look at is the opponents that they played, the strength of schedule, how they won. And as of now, I don't have any problem with Clemson being, where they are. I think the bigger issue is, and I think this is one that you have, is where Georgia and Ohio State are.
Yeah, I mean.
And I don't have that issue. Georgia, to me, I think Ohio State is clearly the number 2 team. I'm fine with Tennessee being 1. I think Ohio State is number 2 because when you look at Georgia and their schedule, they opened up with Oregon at number 11, and they pounded them.
Right.
Since then, Samford. Okay. I mean, come on. A strength of opponent. But they haven't played a ranked team since.
Yeah, they look, they're being penalized. Struggling with Missouri.
It's white
They're
gold.
being penalized for struggling with Missouri, but they're also being penalized the same way Michigan is for their strength of schedule.
Yeah. So at least they're being consistent. I just, you want to play the eye test game. I just think Georgia, I think we devalue defense. I still think their defense is outstanding. And
I do too. But I think the other issue that I have is Alabama and TCU. Now, if you're saying the eye test is, if you put Alabama and TCU on the field, who do you think wins? I think it's probably Alabama.
Yeah, me too.
But right now, it's a matter of who's done the work, who's had the wins, and TCU is the team that has had some pretty good wins.
Yes, they have.
Along the way. And the fact
based
that
on-
Alabama gave up 52 points.
Correct. And I don't think it should be, poo-pooed that their win over Texas, granted it was in Austin, but their win over Texas, I don't know how much, the committee cares about this stuff. If Texas's quarterback, if Quinn Ewers does not get hurt, Alabama does not win that football game, and they were the beneficiary of one of the worst calls you've ever seen in the end zone. Correct?
Can I do a Stoney special here on that?
Yeah.
We don't know that. We don't know that.
You don't. You're right.
That's a
You
good
would
one.
say that, Stoney.
I know. I
But
would.
for TCU, now, ranked at the time, Oklahoma was ranked 18. They put up 55 on them. Kansas was ranked 19. They put up 38 on them. Oklahoma State, they put up 43 on them. They were ranked 8. Kansas State was ranked 17. They put up 38. Like, they had a stretch of 4 ranked teams that they handled. And so I don't know why you would put them behind Alabama right now when Alabama gave up 52
But let me ask you
and
this.
lost to Tennessee.
And they scored 49.
Yeah.
I understand that.
But let me ask you this about Clemson. Clemson, at the time, Wake Forest was a top 21 team. Clemson scored 51 on them. NC State was a top 10 team. They scored 30, won 30-20, and they beat a number 14 team, Syracuse, when they played them at the time. So,
But I'm talking about Alabama, and
I know.
Alabama played Utah State, Louisiana Monroe, and they still have Austin Peay coming up. So it's not like their
Right.
non-conference is not outstanding.
Well, no, they played Texas. Alabama.
Right, yeah, because they only play the 8 league games.
Right.
But Texas is, we can't call them an SEC team yet,
No.
but it is
They weren't tough.
soon enough.
They're in the rankings.
They are now, but they weren't at the time.
True.
They were not a ranked opponent. They've only played Arkansas, Tennessee, and Mississippi State as ranked opponents.
248-539-9797. Coming up next, Halloween costume by a certain member of the National Football League. Should he get in trouble for this? 97.1.
I have another patient review I want to share from my friends over at Straith Orthopedics. This one's from Tim, who's only 2 weeks out of total knee replacement with Dr. Fleischman, and he is beyond thrilled with the results. Tim says Straith was unbelievable with their attentiveness and concern throughout the entire process. From the first meeting with Dr. Fleischman through all of follow-ups, he was completely at ease, and all of his questions and concerns were taken care of. Tim also gives a special shout-out to Dr. Fleischman's office staff, admitting he fell behind in a few pre-op requirements. They stayed on him to make sure he got things done on time, and without them, Tim would have had to put surgery off for another year. He's glad he didn't have to do that. Tim recommends friends and family to Dr. Fleischman and his team. So if you are suffering from joint pain, don't wait any longer. All you got to do is make the call. Call Straith Orthopedics at 855-STRAIGHT and find out what they can do for you. Or you can schedule online at straith.org. Straith Orthopedics is committed to you.
97.1 The Ticket. Traffic.
From the WWJ 24-hour traffic center, we have one crash blocking the right shoulder on 275 northbound after Michigan Avenue. I'm Tina with traffic.
Unparalleled insight and opinions for all of the weekend NFL action. Kick off with Boomer and Valenti, Sunday mornings at 9 on 97.1 The Ticket.
BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks, unleashes the spirit of Las Vegas with BetMGM rewards. Every time you make a wager at BetMGM, you can earn BetMGM reward points that you can redeem for online bonus credits like free bets. It's never been easier to join the action on the new BetMGM app, featuring a fresh redesign with improved features and quicker navigation. Planning a trip to Vegas? You can also convert your BetMGM points into MGM reward points that you can use towards dining, shows, and hotel rooms at over 20 MGM resorts located on the Las Vegas Strip and nationwide. BetMGM Rewards is sports betting's premier loyalty program, including exclusive offers, incredible experiences, and valuable perks when you wager with BetMGM. Sign up with BetMGM or log in today and take advantage of BetMGM rewards. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. You must be 21 years of age or older to wager. Michigan only. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help. Excludes Michigan disassociated persons.
1-877-CARS for kids. KARS, Cars for kids. 1-877-CARS for kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877-CARS for kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Inside District Detroit, on the second floor of Hockeytown, it's Detroit's premier broadcast and recording studio, Music Town Detroit, where music, sports, news, and entertainment collide. Powered by your Metro Detroit Ram truck dealers. Listen to win tickets to our next event, musictowndetroit.com.
Hey everybody, it's Boomer Esiason here. When a part of your offense isn't firing on all cylinders, it shows. And sometimes the only solution is to replace that part with something new. It's true on a championship team, and it's also true with cars. That's why I love eBay Motors. They have all the right parts at the right prices. 122 million of them, by the way. And that way you can get the parts that you need to make your car a winner. ebaymotors.com. Let's ride.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you 24/7, with supplies and solutions for every industry, and access to product specialists ready to help. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Finding the right Medicare plan? Oof, no easy feat. Kind of like those dances my granddaughter loves making me do. But then I found Walgreens FindRx coverage. Lets you compare plans online, over the phone, or in person. Made Medicare shopping so easy. Plus, I found plans with low-cost copays. I can get down with that. Medicare annual enrollment ends December 7th. Find a plan that's right for you at walgreens.com/Medicare.
What's worse than calling or growing your junk? Treating it like junk. Respect your pubic region with Gillette Intimate. Gentle and easy pubic hair care from America's #1 trusted men's grooming brand. Gillette, the best a man can get. Buy now at Walmart.
The latest news and information on the Big Ten on the 5 Star Zone podcast with Rico Baird. Get it on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts. Live from the Jamie Samuelson studio, here's Stoney and Jansen.
248-539-9797. Last night, the Philadelphia Phillies took a 2-1 lead in the World Series, pounding the Houston Astros 7-0, 5 home runs in the game, including Bryce Harper, Alec Bohm, Brandon Marsh, Kyle Schwarber, and Rhys Hoskins. First team to have 5 home runs in the first 5 innings of a World Series game. Game 4 tonight in Philly as well. Aaron Nola for the Phils, Christian Javier for the Astros. The Pistons are in Milwaukee, taking on the Bucks right here on 97.1 The Ticket. Michigan State won a exhibition basketball game with Grand Valley State last night. Wings back in action tomorrow night against the Washington Capitals. Big weekend for the Red Wings. They're honoring the 25th anniversary, basically, of the 2 Stanley Cup champion teams. Them on back-to-back from 97-98. A lot of the older guys are going to be back in town. Guys like Mike Vernon, Brandon Shanahan, Martin LaPointe, Aaron Wood, Bob Ross.
That's the email Brian sent.
I haven't seen it in a long time, so that should be pretty cool. Some ticket text. This year's playoffs is setting up as Ohio State, Michigan winner, and 3 SEC teams. I can feel it in my plums. Well, it depends.
Yeah.
Because if Tennessee wins this week and then loses the SEC championship game, I still think they'd get in, depending who they would lose to.
Right.
Which would be Alabama, let's say, hypothetically. So Alabama would have 1 loss.
Tennessee would have 1 loss.
And Georgia might only have 1 loss.
If they lose this week to Tennessee.
Well, it's possible.
I don't think you get 3 in.
I don't think so, but it's possible.
You could get 1 in. that loses in a championship game.
Yeah.
Not one in that doesn't
At the
play
next
in a
light,
championship.
turn left.
Georgia and Tennessee are in the same division.
Right.
Well, I think maybe the argument there is that the Georgia-Tennessee loser could be that third team.
Yeah.
And so let's say you have one loss Georgia, one loss Michigan, one loss Clemson, one loss Oregon or USC. And you get into one loss TCU, and you get into a debate about, well, of all these teams, who really is that best one-loss team? Well, Michigan's going to be hurt by their
At the
non-conference.
light, turn
Oregon
left
lost
onto
heads
West
up to
14
them.
Mile Road. Then
Who's
turn
better,
right
Georgia or
onto Inkster
Clemson?
Road.
Georgia.
So you start see how the path is there potentially, especially if they lose a close game to Tennessee.
Correct.
And then Tennessee, vice versa, same thing. They got the win over Bama already, so you put them in the one-loss scenario against. I mean, I can see what the caller's saying, but a lot has to happen.
Yes, exactly. Tim from Clarkston says college football rankings right now should be in this order: Tennessee, Ohio State, Georgia, TCU,
At the
Clemson,
stop
Bama,
sign,
and Michigan.
turn right onto Inkster Road.
Michigan at 7.
Yeah.
It doesn't make a difference. Like I said, it's...
Is that from Rico?
No, but I don't think Tim in Clarkston is in Michigan. Right?
No, but the reason that I'm not
1.4
upset
miles. Turn
about
right
any of
onto
this
Northwestern
is
Highway.
because there's so much more football to be played. And when you look at the initial rankings, it gives you an idea of where the committee stands.
Right. I personally believe the biggest thing that came out of last night is Georgia getting dissed heading into this big game. Are you on it? Kirby Smart's walking into, when he meets with the team today, he say, hey boys, look at this. The number one team's coming in, and they don't think you're better than Ohio State either.
Well, it's their perception of being dissed. I don't know that there's a lot of people out there that think they're being dissed right now.
Let me ask you, if you're in a locker room, does that stuff matter? John, how did you feel going into Happy Valley when you guys were undefeated and Penn State was ranked higher and everybody thought they were nobody gave you guys a chance?
There was so much more going. I mean, like, nobody is sitting there and saying Georgia should send the band because they don't have a chance against Tennessee. Like, the narrative is completely different regarding Georgia and the fact that they are a defending national champion. And I know I'm kind of building your case that they are the defending national championship. They have their quarterback back. They have a lot of talent, but they've also struggled throughout the season. I don't think Georgia is sitting there going, well, if
At the next light, turn right.
if Bino Cook said, we don't even belong on the field, yes, you can use that, but it's the same narrative right now that it's been for the past 8 years or 10 years, however long this college football playoffs has been around. Take care of business, and it doesn't matter.
Well, I know, but I'm talking from a coaching. Kirby Smart's.
Oh, sure,
without
Kirby
a doubt
Smart's going to
using
play
that.
this up, but I'm talking about the rest of college football, individuals thinking that Georgia got dissed at number 3.
But as long as he portrays that to his team and sells that message, it's extra motivation.
Right, so you think you're thinking that Georgia believes they should be number 1 right now?
Yes, exactly.
And they can believe that. That's fine. Tennessee has a better win over Alabama than Georgia has. That's why they're at number 1.
Right.
And
I
so
don't disagree with that,
Turn
but
right
Georgia
onto
can say all they
Northwestern
want
Highway.
about our feelings, and we feel like we're a better team.
But
then go
everybody
out
on
and
that
win.
team, the defending national champions, that you can sell that in that locker room, and you can also add in that Ohio State's better.
All right, but
okay,
other
so
than
hey guys,
Georgia and Tennessee fans, how many people believe, looking at their resumes, that Georgia should be the number 1 team in the country right now?
I don't think it's as far away as some people think it is.
I'm not saying it's far
Because
away.
Georgia has a win over the 11th ranked team at the time, and now the 8th ranked playoff
Yeah,
team.
but Tennessee beat number 1 at the time.
But maybe we shouldn't use what they were at the time. Maybe we should use where they are
I think
right
you should
now.
use both.
All right, it's time for news, and here's
Well, a teenager is facing charges after a woman's body was discovered in the bed of a truck that he was driving during a fender bender in Roseville. We discussed this when it happened last week, and now 19-year-old Stephen Freeman is charged with concealing the death of an individual and receiving and concealing stolen property. Both charges carry penalties of up to 5 years in prison if he is convicted. Now, additional charges involving murder may actually be coming soon for him, as well as others. But that's going to be coming as the investigation goes on. Medical examiners have not released the cause of the woman's death yet. I believe once that is revealed, we could be seeing more charges coming. He does remain in Macomb County Jail on a $75,000 bond. Attorney Jeffrey Feiger filed a $50 million wrongful death lawsuit on Tuesday against the city of Detroit and 5 Detroit police officers in connection with the fatal shooting of Porter Burks. Now, you may remember early in October, on October 2nd, Burks was suffering a mental health crisis. He was armed with a knife when police were called. Well, 5 officers fired 38 shots, striking him 19 times. The lawsuit alleges gross negligence, assault and battery, wanton and willful misconduct, violation of a Persons with Disabilities Act, and a violation of the Freedom of Information Act. A former hall monitor at Warren's Lincoln High School is facing up to life in prison after being accused of having sexual relations with students. 22-year-old Jaron Johnson is facing numerous charges after he allegedly met multiple victims while he worked at the school and had sexual contact with a 14-year-old on school property. He was a football coach before he became a hall monitor. He had worked at the school for several months before he was fired just a few weeks ago. He did not have any prior criminal history. On a more positive note, this is pretty cool. The official 2022 Michigan State Christmas tree has been selected.
All right.
It's been harvested and it's been delivered to Lansing. Yeah, pretty cool. So the official tree is a 63-foot spruce, and it's from St. John's, which is in the Lower Peninsula, which I'll get to in a minute. And it was donated by a mother and daughter business partner, Marianne and Caitlin Beck. And the reason I made sure to emphasize Michigan's Lower Peninsula is because this is the capital's very first Christmas tree from Clinton County, and only the 12th tree from Michigan's Lower Peninsula since they began harvesting these official trees back in 1987. So pretty cool. So it's going to obviously have the official tree lighting ceremony. That will be on November 18th.
Hopefully they, I mean, it's an awfully long time between now and Christmas. Hopefully they keep that water in the bowl.
Spray paint. Don't they like, can't they just like spray, don't they spray paint and add some fake limbs in there a little bit to make it a little,
fuller?
Yeah, fuller and
I don't know. Do
greener.
they do that?
I think so.
They add fake to real?
I think they might. Maybe not. I don't know. But come on, no
I
tree
like
is
the all-natural tree.
Yeah, but because, like you said, it's going up on November 18th.
Right. They just keep that hose ready.
Hey, if you have any Zingerman's gelato in your freezer, you may need to throw it out.
What?
Zingerman's Creamery in Ann Arbor is recalling certain gelato varieties because of an undeclared egg allergen. So these include pints and quarts of Pawpaw gelato, and then pints of quarts of Harvest pumpkin gelato. And they say that people who have an allergy or severe sensitivity to egg run the risk of a serious or life-threatening allergic reaction if they consume these products.
Oh.
So if that's you, definitely double check. You can check out all the lot numbers online. Basically, they said, hey, this was just a mistake. It was recalled after they discovered egg was not actually included on the list of ingredients.
But if you don't have that allergy, it's still safe to eat.
Yes, exactly.
Please deliver to the radio station here. if you're trying to,
or the Jansen household.
Yes, if you're trying to get rid of gelato.
All right, thank you, Heather. Coming up next, as promised, a Halloween costume that might get this well-known NFL personality in trouble. 97.1 The
Start NFL Week 9 off right with a no-sweat same-game parlay from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. It doesn't matter if you're new to FanDuel or you already have an account, you'll get free bets back if your Thursday night same-game parlay doesn't hit. NFL same-game parlay is the perfect way to combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payday. Build your own or choose from one of the popular same-game parlays pre-built for you in FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app. However you want to play, you can bet the NFL on Thursday night with a no-sweat same-game parlay. Just sign up with promo code WOJO if you don't already have an account. And if you do already have an account, you're all set. Just sign in to see what you got. Must be 21 or older and present in Michigan. 3+ legs, minimum $1 bet required. Refund issued is non-withdrawable free bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Maximum free bet $5. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-270-7117.
Just a quick with BetQL. You want to beat the books? Sometimes you got to throw an NFL trend out the window, but sometimes you have to pay close attention. Let's talk about this Thursday night's game between the Eagles and the Texans. This has a trend that maybe you should pay attention to. The Eagles are 6-1 in their last 7 games against the AFC. Since the Texans have the worst rush defense in the NFL this year, I expect the Eagles to run wild. Take the Eagles in the over and thank me later. I'm Trista Crick, helping you beat the bookie.
Hi, this is Staples. So rumor has it that Staples is everything I need to ship.
That's not a rumor. We have all the shipping supplies and services you need.
Boxes?
Yep.
Mailers?
Yep.
And I can actually ship there, right?
We have UPS right here in store.
What will Staples think of next?
Right.
No, seriously, I'm asking. What will they think of next?
Staples has all your shipping supplies and UPS service in store. And right now, get 25% off UPS Express shipping services. Staples, the best kept secret in shipping. Ends 12/31. Valid only in Staples U.S. stores.
If you're a father facing separation but want to avoid losing custody of your kids or paying too much in child support, call ADAM, the American Divorce Association for Men. With our proven advice, we can help you avoid problems before they start. Call us today at 248-356-2326. That's 248-356-ADAM.
Hi, I'm David Hall from Hall Financial. With home values growing over 15% within the last year, it's time to reevaluate your home equity. The Hall Financial team is available right now for a free 5-minute mortgage review to see if a cash-out refinance makes sense for you. Our clients are using this extra cash to pay off high-interest credit card debt and remodeling. Don't wait. Call today, 866-CALL-HALL, or go to callhallfirst.com.
Hall Financial, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 1467435.
My husband and I live next door to a haunted graveyard. It's a little creepy, but we manage. Just like we manage without home internet. Do I wish my mobile hotspot was faster? Yes, but I make it work. Kinda. Just like we make it work sleeping next to a 17th century burial ground.
Stay in the center field from right.
That's not my hand.
It's mine.
Not having home internet? It's not that bad.
It is that bad. Don't settle. Switch to Xfinity and get 1 line of unlimited mobile and home internet together for $50 a month for 12 months. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit your local Xfinity store today. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. New Connect Internet customers only on 1-year contract. Internet included for 12 months. New Xfinity mobile account required. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. After 12 months, regular rates apply. Xfinity postpaid internet required for Xfinity mobile. Additional devices extra. Reduced speeds after 20 gigabytes of data usage. Offer ends 12/21/22.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
This hour of instant feedback brought to you by Mike Papura of National Benefit Plans. For affordable health insurance, log on to nbphealth.com.
The Detroit Pistons play the Milwaukee Bucks. Pre-game tonight at 7:35 on 97.1 The Ticket. Live from the Jamie Samuelson Studio, here's Stoney and Jansen.
248-539-9797. Halloween, as you know, was Monday night, and a picture was released, and he actually talked about it, Dallas Cowboy owner Jerry Jones posing with, it looks like, his wife and maybe daughters or grandchildren, whatever, just for Halloween. And Jerry's costume is a referee.
In 2 miles, take
sunglasses,
exit 12 toward Grand River Avenue and M5.
That's outstanding.
It's
well done.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
However, there are those who think the NFL should do something.
Do something about what?
Because
did you show up to the game in that outfit?
It's making fun of official. Well, it's not me. I think it's funny as hell. However, I'm sure there's Lion fans sitting there saying, he's complaining basically as a blind referee when, the referees basically help his teams beat the Lions in the playoffs back in 2016.
Right.
I love the fact that he had maybe you might say he had the balls, but whatever, to do it. I think it's great.
Yeah, and if he's at a Halloween party that's not sanctioned by Roger Goodell or any of the other owners.
Roger Goodell?
I don't. There's no way he should be fined for this.
Here's some tweets, because it was posted by Clarence Hill Jr., who's a Cowboys beat writer. Somebody said, Jones is the Darth Vader of football. He has no class, no respect, no integrity.
How about just a sense of humor?
Yeah, I know. Somebody says, we're going to get on him for clowning the officials who constantly fail to do their jobs.
Yes. Even if the officials were perfect, right? Half of the opponents
Use the
that
right
they
lane
face
to
aren't
take
going to
exit
agree
12
with
toward
the
Grand River
officials all
Avenue
the time.
and M5.
Who cares? This is where we are. Can you imagine being a comedian right now? You can't say anything funny.
I know.
Or make fun of anyone.
Well, yeah, for the most part.
For the most part,
yeah.
Right? And Jerry Jones goes to if he shows up at a Dallas Cowboys game,
Take the exit. Then
and
turn
he's
left onto Grand
videoed
River
in
Avenue.
the owner's box of wearing a referee costume with the cane and the glasses, you may have a case.
Go
But
past
this
light.
wasn't
then
that,
at the next
that
one,
context.
turn left onto
He's
Grand
at
River
a
Avenue.
Halloween party.
It's fun.
Yeah, get over it already. That's just insane.
Let me ask you this. Forgetting, the history of the line, would you want your owner to be would you want Jerry Jones to own the Lions? Forgetting what's here now, or the blank, slate.
Sure, why not? I think he's a good owner.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, he tries to, has he had success in the last 25 years in terms of if your success is winning a Super Bowl?
Right.
No. But he is a guy that goes after it.
Yeah.
And he's a guy that's entertaining. Plus, he goes on local radio.
I know. That would be great to have Jerry on every week.
Right. He's the weekly show, isn't it?
Yeah. Now, look, does he interfere too much with things? Maybe he doesn't know what he's doing. Is he basically the pseudo GM at times where he probably shouldn't? Yeah, but you know what?
Stoney, he's not the pseudo GM.
He is
the GM.
Turn left.
I know. Like Will McClay does a lot of,
his work.
In half a
Anyway,
mile,
my
turn
point
right
is,
onto Grand
yeah,
Bunk Road.
you want your owner, I think, to be involved to be involved.
So he's got a track record of being involved and having success.
But he also has a track record of ruining success too.
Right, yeah, but it's unlike an owner that I played for who didn't have a track record of success but
Correct.
wanted to meddle and still meddles in everything.
Right, now there are some people, I think, Gov, you're one of them, who probably will never forgive him for firing Tom Landry or the way he was handled. So that goes a long time ago. But
it did lead to Super Bowls.
Right, and even the way he handled Jimmy Johnson. That was like a clash of egos.
I think for him, it was the way he handled Jimmy Johnson.
Right.
He had to have more control and get the credit for it. And they had something rolling there where they probably would have won more Super Bowls.
Could have.
So, the whole firing of Landry, a lot of that was an instant knee-jerk reaction for me.
Yeah.
I think the big thing for him is the fact that what John said about the last 25, 30 years, but they haven't been to an NFC championship game. And the track record of that franchise, once they became, quote, America's team, they played the NFC championship game a ton. Did they win them all? No. But the fact that they haven't been able to get there, it's pretty indicting.
Yeah. But the point
I
is,
know.
would you want him to be
Be
your
prepared
owner?
for
And
a lot of skips today.
Is
There are a lot of traffic
Does he make it all by himself
lights
sometimes?
here
Yeah.
in Detroit.
You know what? He tries hard to put on a winning product. And you know what? The other owner in that city too, or one of the other owners, does the same thing.
For the Mavericks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd love him to be the owner of the team, the Pistons. I mean, here, you know, with the Pistons per se, like Bill Davidson was like the complete opposite of Jerry Jones and of Mark Cuban. He just, you know, hung out and, you know, background would make moves.
In a quarter mile,
you know, some
the
I thought was
destination is on
ridiculous
your
at
left.
the time.
14374 Grandmont
Win
Road.
championships.
Yes, he did.
And so, I mean, there's a lot of different ways you could do it, right? Yeah. But it's if you have a track record of winning championships, then sure, I'd love to have you as an owner. Because, one, you know what it takes, what it looks like, what it feels like, what it costs. Mm-hmm. But you also understand what, you know, of the benefits that you reap when that happens. So your ultimate goal is to always get there because you know what the end product feels like, what it looks like, and what it actually means to the bottom line as well.
Right. I was kind of surprised, speaking of Jerry Jones, the Cowboys didn't do anything yesterday. They've been known trading deal. I mean, look what he did with the Lions years ago. That was a really good move by Martin Mayhew. It didn't pan out draft-wise the way we wanted, but, you know, the Roy Williams trade.
Sure. The only team that I was surprised that didn't do anything, the Cowboys, I mean, I don't necessarily know who they were going to go out and get. Maybe they could have got some receiver help because they've been banged up a little bit. Their defense is really good. So I don't know exactly where they would have gone and if the value would have been there to spend future assets.
The destination is on your left.
Maybe the secondary because Jordan Lewis got hurt.
Grandmont Road.
I mean, some depth. But you're not going to break the bank for some depth in the secondary. But the team that I think really bombed yesterday was the Green Bay Packers.
I know.
I mean, when you look at what they've been able to do over the past decade, or even more than that with Aaron Rodgers, and then all of a sudden you look and you say, okay, well, Green Bay right now is 3-5. I know they're not completely out of it. And with Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback, you still have that chance to go back and you know, you have a chance to make a run on Minnesota because they're going to play them twice.
And we know, well, they already lost to them once.
Did they lose them once?
Yes.
I don't know.
But they do have to play the Lions twice, including this week, so that should be 2 wins.
Well, it should be, but your offense is struggling because you have either youth at wide receiver or you've got age at wide receiver. You don't have a stud at wide receiver. And